This is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield from the Lynn Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Michael provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Mike Mansfield, and on the video with us today, I've got Owen Hill. Owen, thanks for joining us from sunny out the window looking Texas.
Thank you.
Lots to talk about today. It's Monday, February 23rd. It's been a chaotic weekend with news. Certainly a lot to jump into there. Even by the time a lot of you are watching this, we'll have probably gone through the State of the Union, which who knows what will come from that. But in any case, Owen, how are you doing, young man?
I am good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. We've got some really good weather in Texas right now. We're in the 70s. So if only it's like we flipped. We got the California 70-degree weather, and you guys got our miserable cold weather.
Like 2 weeks ago, you guys were ice skating in your parking lot. So.
Yeah. All the ice skating's gone.
All right, what do you got for us, young man? What are we doing here?
So, yeah, I wanted you to pull up that chart I sent over, the about personal income.
Okey-dokey.
Dive into that real fast. Yeah, so
let's see here. Personal income.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So over the last month, or I should say in December, personal income actually rose at 0.3%. But what actually matters is on an annualized rate, that personal income metric actually increased by over basically 4% for the year, which is a really good number. But we have to compare that to that of inflation. If we look at the latest CPI report back in January, it came in at 2.4%. So all in all, what that's telling us is personal income is growing, or at least outpacing that of inflation.
Yeah, now, which is awesome.
What's funny about the whole thing, and I think this is something you're going to talk about, tariffs, the tariff-sensitive goods, they only rose by 1.7%. Now, the service sector was actually the area that actually grew the most at 3.4%. So it's making up most of that actual inflationary growth. So it's a weird story being told right now where the stuff that we thought was going to be causing inflation to go berserk is not actually happening. And then on top of all of that, our actual personal income that we're receiving this last year is outpacing that of inflation total. So I don't know. I thought it was a really interesting thing coming out to read about and see, but I don't know, take with it.
That is crazy. Because I think you're right. Like there's still so much anxiety. There's stress. Everything feels overpriced. Everything is costly. But good news is good news. We want to start seeing the positive makeup of things. We need wages to start outpacing inflation, even though there's a long way to go to, we'll say, heal our mental states from the last 5 years of chaotic inflation. Good news is good news. So I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. You brought up something interesting, though, and you brought up the chaos of tariffs. So what's happening right now? I'm looking here. I'm watching the old stock market. Everyone always likes to talk about the Dow because the number's more dramatic. The Dow's down about 800 points. What do I have here on the screen? I got the old, where's the, they keep changing this stinking website. There it is. Annotate. Got to be able to draw. We like to color here at the Lynn Group. So what happened? Last year we had something happen. We had Liberation Day. Here it is on the charts. The stock market from last February, about February 18th. Oh my gosh, we're like just a few days off from the beginning of Liberation Day, right through the beginning of April 9th. We had the market pull back almost 20%, kind of a chaotic mess, right? And so a lot of this was the conversation of tariffs. I'm not sure what word that is, but it sounded cool. Tariffs. It was very European. And then the continued rollout of it as they kept rolling it out and talking about it. Chaos. It's hard to see here on the chart, but then there's this straight up white line right here. It's kind of right here in the middle of this, where the president pivoted. He said, oh my gosh, this isn't working. I better do something. The bond market was getting pouty. So he popped out his little, probably uses a BlackBerry still or something cool. And he types in, Just kidding. We're pausing the tariffs, and boom, the stock market goes up like a missile, right? And we've had a pretty steady Eddie market since then. Now, you got to kind of fast forward in thought. All of a sudden, here we are. It's February, a year later. We had the Supreme Court come. I've got a little thing like that. Let's see here. Supreme Court says no go. Now, if we're being honest, what the Supreme Court said is they didn't say Trump isn't allowed to do tariffs. They didn't say that this was against the executive branch. What they said was there was a flawed thought in the very specific piece of legislation he was using. He was using I don't know, it is somewhere around here. I forget what it's called. The Emergency Powers Act, something thingy-majiggle. And basically what they were saying was you can't use that specific bill to do the tariffs. And that represented about 70% of the tariffs that have been done over the past 12 months. And so, even the dissenting opinion, which was 63 pages from Brett Kavanaugh, kind of went into some of the details of the other laws and the things that you can utilize for that stuff. And basically all that's happened in simplicity is the administration says, okay, fine, you win. We won't use that law. We're just going to go use these other laws that we're allowed to. And so they've just over the weekend increased kind of a global tariff from 10 to 15% kind of a thing. Now, this new law that they're using for the moment is temporary. I should have read the article first. Oh, there it is. The Economics Power Act. That's what he was using. This new one, though, that he's using, you can only use it. So he's using Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. You can only use this law for 150 days. Well, the cool thing is that now gives the administration basically 6 months-ish to kind of rejigger, refigure out, keep the pressure on what they were doing, for better or for worse. I think what I was touching on last week in our last video is there's obviously a lot of polarizing thoughts about the tariffs, about the efficiency of the tariffs. I mean, Owen just pointed out a fascinating thing, and that is if the tariff-sensitive good category only rose at 1.7%, I'm not feeling this overwhelming thought about how this is like in and of itself crushed the economy. Whereas one of the things I pointed out last week, showing some economic charts, is we have seen some really mild positive improvements in our federal deficit. We had 2 months last year, June and September, where we had a positive surplus at the Federal Reserve. That hasn't happened in 20 years. We had the deficit slightly rolling over. The projection for this year's deficit was at 1.6%. In the peak of COVID, the deficit was 4 trillion, 1.6%, 1.6 trillion. Thanks for correcting me, Owen. Jeez Louise, man. You gotta keep me going. So fast forward, what do we have right now? It's, maybe I should go to a smaller chart. Would that be prettier for us? Do a more current event chart. We can push all the buttons. Here, we'll go to a 6-month chart. So the stock market's been moving up, but like I said, it's been kind of hanging out a little bit. But really what we're focused on is here's today, right here, this last blue bar. And what do we see here? We see that the stock market has pulled back. The Dow's down 800 points. The S&P's down to 6840 at the moment. But notice this red line. I mean, this red line is kind of fascinating to me at the moment. All of these smooth lines, this yellow line, this green line, these are called moving averages, even this black line. And the stock market is a creature of habit. It's a creature of algorithms and hedge funds doing things. And you kind of notice, it crashes and almost crashed perfectly to the red line. It crashes almost perfectly to the red line. The last pullback is perfectly to the red line at the moment. This one, it crashed to the yellow line. This one, it crashed to the green line. Statistically, it goes back to algorithms, to moving averages, because what happens is hedge funds start to say, oh my gosh, the market pulled down to the 100-day moving average. Hot diggity dog, buy. Now, if it breaks that line, generally there's a lot of pressure for it to go lower. So, arguably the big black line down here is at 6,500 on the S&P. So that wouldn't be shocking with a breakdown, but you hit that black line, you're going to have a lot of institutional investors coming in and buying everything, including myself. I'm not an institutional investor, but I wanted to sound important, so I said that. So I definitely buy something if it went down that much. But in any case, the market's down a little bit, but honestly, it's so benign at the moment. I think right now we're just trying to digest the headlines, because let's be fair. At the moment, Owen, are tariffs new news to us?
No, tariffs are not new news to us.
You tell me it's not the first time you've heard the word tariff. we become very desensitized to things, right? And so it was very novel. It was very overwhelming last year. It created a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, and the market had a hard time with it.
Yeah.
So fast forward today, yes, there's definitely some digesting of the new news and the variations, but we're kind of desensitized to it. And so there's probably not a lot of chaos coming from this. At the same time, I think there was already a pretty strong impression that the Supreme Court would rule against the executive branch at the moment. And so portion of this was probably already baked into the cake. I think where there's a little more anxiety possibly coming into the market is, what's going on in the Middle East, man? We got a lot of a lot of boats floating around, a lot of field trips over there. So that's what we're watching. So in any case, easy peasy. We just want to touch base with some of this current event news. Oh, and I appreciate you bringing to us the updates on the personal income, because I think that's honestly more relevant and more important in the big scheme of things.
Sure, good news.
What we're talking about. Yeah, it's great news. And this in-between stuff with tariffs and Iran and whatnot, this too shall pass. If you got any questions, never hesitate to call us. Never hesitate to reach out to our office. You can visit our website, thelindgroup.com. Other than that, I hope that everyone has a phenomenal rest of their week, and we'll be back soon enough. Toodaloo.
All right.